not getting over a cold, so I'm doing pretty well.
Cool. Yeah, this...
Not to brag or anything, I don't have a fucking cold.
Oh, yeah. Brag away.
Yeah.
I miss breathing so much.
It's great. I fucking love breathing.
Yeah, that's the one thing about getting a cold. It's like I'll deal with the headaches and the body aches and the fever and the cough and the vocal fry, I don't care, whatever. But I just want to be able to breathe. Like, it impedes on my sleep, and that's a no bueno for everyone involved. And Jay can attest, when I have a cold, I'm a little bit of a bitch. Just a smidgen.
I would not use those words.
I mean, but it's true.
You can be grumpy, I think it's fair. Like, it's fine.
Because I don't like to be babied at all, and I just get real annoyed that I have to, like, rest rather than just get shit done.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. I'm like, that needs done, like making lists in my head of things that need done, or like, I wish I was at work instead because this shit sucks kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'll take a free day, fine, but I don't want that free day to be me blowing my nose until it's bleeding. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah, that's no fun. That's fucking
no
gross.
But anyway, Jay, what are we doing?
I am like 67% certain that we are having a meeting of the Scary Movie Club.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound like what we're doing, maybe?
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That was a long pause.
Yeah.
Yes. I do believe that's what we're doing.
Fucking rad.
Rad. Cool. I sounded not excited about that. I apologize. No, I'm super stoked because we're actually starting a really fun series.
Yeah.
Yeah. This meeting in the Scary Movie Club, we are starting our Final Girl series.
Our series on Final Girls.
Yeah. So,
it's pretty self-explanatory, so...
Yeah. So giddy up, guys. This is going to be fun. I just said, I want to do a series on Final Girls.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's fucking sweet. And I said, cool.
Okay.
And you asked me what I want to start with, and I'm so excited about the film that we're starting with.
What is it?
It is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
I have seen that movie.
Have you?
I have.
Me too.
Funny enough, I watched it just yesterday and this morning.
Oh, well, how about it?
Yeah, that's very convenient timing.
That's incredibly convenient timing. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm Victoria.
Hi, I'm Jay.
Welcome to the Scary Movie Club.
Welcome to the Scary Movie Club.
I'm in the goddamn club, alright.
So this movie opens with an Edgar Allan Poe quote.
Which actually cannot be attributed to any of Edgar Allan Poe's writings.
Correct, yes. Because I, like the proud emo that I was, own, that stupid leather-bound Edgar Allan Poe, whatever.
The Barnes & Noble complete collected works of Edgar Allan Poe
yes.
for like $5.97.
Exactly. Yeah. So I own that. Plus
Yeah, I believe the note that I found actually says the quote is more likely from Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Wells? H.G. Wells?
Yes. Yeah, but I believe it's actually the film version.
Was that actually right? Was that H.G. Wells?
H.G. Wells, yeah.
Oh my god, I'm a literary genius.
Yeah, so that quote, it's cool. I like the idea that it came from Edgar Allan Poe because it seems very fitting for him.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it's a factual statement.
Right.
Honestly, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
We're watching a movie about a dream killer.
It's such a classic. Everyone knows Freddy Krueger. Everyone, and that's kind of why we didn't start with, and we haven't covered A Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, yet, is because, like, everyone knows Freddy. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows Robert Englund,
Yep.
So this is more of a celebration of Nancy.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about the Nightmare on Elm Street series specifically is that the first movie was incredibly popular, super well received, and it had like a reputation. Nightmare, it came out of the gate and it built New Line Cinemas. It is like the studio is still referred to as the house that Freddy built. The problem is when they came out with the second one, it was not well received.
Well,
at all.
Wes Craven he played no part in that sequel.
Right, because he had said, I don't see Freddy as a franchise character.
Correct. Which I'm kind of glad he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why you didn't have the master's touch.
Yeah, and Freddy in part 2 is still kind of the dark version.
Yeah, not as campy, not as many one-liners.
Mm-hmm. In Dream Warriors, they really embraced the dream concept, and it has some of my absolute favorite kills, and it has the scene that cemented who Freddy Krueger is.
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about the television scene, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, you knew instantly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And this was intended to be the end of the franchise.
Right.
Wes Craven returned to kill his character.
Yes, yeah. Which, rightfully so, because the fourth blows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that I have a lot of nostalgia for these films because this is like prime time stuff for me. Way more than Halloween.
Oh, sure.
These movies are just so fun.
Oh my God.
That's the best way. Even when they're shitty, they're fun.
Yes. Yeah. It's all the kind of gore, but campy shit that you want.
Mm-hmm.
All of your very stereotypical horror tropes that you expect from these movies. And they freaking deliver.
And the craziest thing to me about this movie is how broad the cast of characters is and how unique every single one of them is, to the point where, like, I may not remember every single character's name right off the bat, but at one point I'll be like, oh yeah, that's Joey. Right. Oh, that's Will. And they're all unique. They all have their own thing.
Yeah.
And whether or not they're like fully fleshed out.
You still care.
Exactly.
You still have developed feelings for these characters.
They have given you just enough
yes.
that the character feels real
yes.
and you give a shit about that.
Yes.
Which none of the Friday the 13th movies did that.
Oh, not at all. That was solely about Jason.
Yeah.
And, Jason's mother.
Yeah, and then, him having a body count.
Yes. Yeah.
And
what were all the creative kills? It wasn't about it wasn't about who the character was. It was like, do you have a pretty girl? Yes. Do you have a jock? Yes. Do you have a geek? Yes. Okay, how can Jason fuck them up in a crazier way than we did last time?
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about these movies is how they seriously embrace the concept of dreams and how terrifying they can be.
Oh my God, yeah. I just brought this up today. I said, does anyone have that dream? And every single person I know has had this dream. What's the worst dream that scares the living shit out of you but isn't actually horror? Or you dying? Your teeth falling out. Your teeth being loose.
I don't know that I've ever had that dream.
Oh, everyone's had that dream, dude. I know you've had that dream. It's where your teeth, you either all of a sudden feel like your front teeth or back teeth are loose, and then they may start falling out or something. Oh my God, everyone's had that dream. That's a horrible dream.
It sounds terrible.
Oh, it's awful.
I'll walk it back. I haven't had a dream about them falling out, but I have had recurring dreams of teeth on concrete.
Oh, like a stomp?
Yeah.
What's that job?
American History X,
yes. Oh my God.
A curb stomp.
Curb stomp.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Yeah. No, that's exactly what you think of. Is American History X. That was such that's such a fucking insane movie.
Yeah. Wes Craven did come back for part 3 here.
Yes.
The really interesting thing is how many of the characters and creators from the first movie had concepts for this sequel. So, of course, they obviously went with Wes Craven's vision, but both Robert Englund and John Saxon had written treatments for a sequel. And honestly, both sound really fascinating. Robert Englund's take was more along the lines of Freddy had kind of taken the house on Elm Street as his property, his zone.
Right.
So as people would be brought into the dream world, they'd go into that house and there'd be like remains from different kills from the other movies scattered around.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and he was going to call it Freddy's Funhouse.
Great title.
And they
Great
kind of adapted it for the Freddy's Nightmare television series, but not to the full extent. And then John Saxon's was supposed to be a prequel story, and the twist with that was that Freddy actually was innocent of the accused child murders. Yeah,
No.
It was an interesting twist that I wouldn't have necessarily been there for.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there was actually an allusion to him having been set up by Charles Manson. Hey, there's a reason John Saxon is an actor, not necessarily known as a writer.
Yep.
So right now we are in the middle of Kristen's Dream, played by Patricia Arquette.
And this was Patricia Arquette's film debut.
Yeah, her very first acting role, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh my gosh, she's incredible. I mean, Robert Englund has been known to say that he thought, or he believed Patricia Arquette was going to be a huge star. Like, this movie was going to make her. And that, I guess, there would be some guys who just thought she was so beautiful, and they would come up to Robert Englund and say, like, how do I get her number? How do I talk to her?
Yeah. This movie in particular is a kind of a big deal because there are a lot of people who went on to do big stuff
things,
from this.
yeah.
Because not only Patricia Arquette.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. As Larry Fishburne in this, which I fucking love.
Oh, yeah.
Way back in the day when I worked at the movie theater, there was a guy who worked with us. His name was Tim. And it was Tim with 2 M's. Mm-hmm. And he always called him Larry Fishburne. Always. And so now it's something that I've adopted.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Tim was
amazing.
a real fucking good dude.
Yeah, but fucking Lawrence Fishburne's in this, man.
It's also the first screenwriting credit for Frank Darabont.
Who is an Oscar-winning screenwriter.
Yeah,
actually.
he went on to do The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
He did...
Or, I'm sorry, he's not an Oscar winner. He's nominated.
Yeah,
Oscar nominated.
correct, sorry.
Writer and director.
Yeah. Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, The Mist, and the first season and a half of The Walking Dead.
That's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
this is his first screenwriting credit.
That is, I mean, what a winner.
It's a movie that has developed a pedigree.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It has some of the most iconic Freddy scenes ever. Like we talked about, we'll get more into it, but I mean, there are action figures that are made with certain scenes in them. Like it's perfect Freddy Krueger. It's all of the dream. Oh God! And so Nancy is finally on screen. Now Nancy, who you were introduced to in the first one, she is played by the absolutely wonderful Heather Langenkamp.
Heather Langenkamp returns as Nancy, an older, wiser Nancy, somehow with a gray streak on the other side of her head. Chuck Russell is the guy who directed Nightmare 3. He has a weird resume. So, not like a super prolific dude. He went from Elm Street 3 to directing the Blob remake, then didn't work again until 1994 when he did The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Oh my God, that movie's amazing.
But then he took 2 years off and did Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I've never heard of that movie.
Yeah, it's just a mid-90s Arnold action movie.
Sure.
I think Vanessa Williams is in it. But yeah, then he did Bless the Child, and then The Scorpion King with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, what a weird fucking filmography. Yeah, so Nancy is a grad student who has come to Weston Hills Psychiatric Hospital to work with troubled teens, all of whom happen to be having very similar nightmares, which is where Kristen has ended up as well.
Kristen, unfortunately, had a bit of an incident, and again, expertly done by Patricia Arquette. She has this scene where she starts fighting off the orderlies and ends up cutting Larry Fishburne on the forearm and whatnot. And then that's our first introduction to Nancy, is she's standing in the doorway asking Kristen about her dreams. And you see Kristen kind of relax because she's like, oh my God, someone believes me. Yeah. Because, you know, again, this is your classic horror movie where one of the classic rules is that the adults don't believe the kids.
Yeah. Even the Dr. Neil, who is played